Picture this. You're just chilling, scrolling through your phone, when a new voicemail notification pops up from a number you don't recognize. You listen. The voice on the other end is panicked, raspy, and strangely familiar. It's your own voice, but older, desperate. It warns you about a catastrophic event set to happen in just a few days. The message is cryptic, filled with details only you would know, and it ends with a chilling plea. Don't let them find you. At first, you think it's a prank. A very elaborate one, but then small, unsettling things start happening. A news report mentions a minor incident, exactly as your future self described. A stranger seems to be following you. The pieces of the puzzle start clicking into place, and you realize this is real. You are being hunted. But here's the twist. As you dig deeper, trying to prevent this future disaster, you uncover a horrifying truth. The conspiracy you're running from, you're the one who started it. Years from now, you will set these events in motion, creating a paradox that spirals out of control. Now, you're in a race against time, not just to save the world, but to stop your future self from making the mistake that started it all. You have to unravel a conspiracy you unknowingly created. Can you change a future that you yourself wrote into existence? What would you do? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more mind-bending stories. Thanks for watching. Clara glanced at her phone, ready to delete the garbled voicemail, but something made her pause. The timestamp. It was dated 3 days from now. Her heart started to pound. A glitchy, it had to be. A simple system error. But her phone seemed fine otherwise. She pressed play again, her ear close to the speaker. A burst of static, and then a voice, frantic and out of breath. Her own voice. Don't go to the lake house. I repeat, do not go. He knows you're coming. It's a trap. Then, silence. A cold dread washed over her. The lake house. She and her boyfriend, Mark, were supposed to leave for a weekend trip there in exactly 3 days. He was so excited about it, planning hikes and fishing trips. This had to be a twisted joke, right? But the raw terror in that voice. It was undeniably hers, staring out at the blurry city lights. Her mind raced. Who was he? What trap was she walking into? The voicemail felt like a chilling glimpse into a future she was speeding towards. She looked at her calendar, at the date circled in bright red. The day of the voicemail, the day she was supposed to leave. She played the message one more time, desperate to find another clue in the static. But there was nothing, just her own voice, pleading from a time that hadn't happened yet. Should she dismiss it as a freak accident, or trust this impossible warning? One thing was certain. Her plans had just been shattered. She had 3 days to uncover the truth, before the future in that voicemail became her terrifying reality. Another sleepless night. I swear, the bags under my eyes have their own zip codes now. I guess that's what happens when you live alone in a new city. Every creak of the floorboards, every distant siren, it all just feels closer. So, last week, I caved. I bought one of those fancy indoor security cameras, the kind that promises peace of mind in a neat little white plastic package. I set it up on the bookshelf in my living room, its unblinking eye covering the front door and the main living area. For the first few days, it was a comfort. I'd scroll through the footage from work, watching my cat nap in sunbeams. It was boring, and boring was good. This morning, though, something felt off. It wasn't a noise or a mess. It was just a feeling, a cold prickle on my skin that I couldn't shake. So, I did what any modern, slightly paranoid person would do. I opened the security app on my phone. I decided to review last night's footage, just to prove to myself that I was being ridiculous. The timeline loaded, a neat blue bar representing hours of uneventful recording. My cat, Mittens, stretching, the lights from passing cars striping the walls. Me, walking to the kitchen for a glass of water around midnight. But then, I saw it. A gap, a glaring, gray void in the timeline. From 2:17 a.m. to 4:22 a.m. The camera was offline. My heart started to hammer against my ribs. 2 hours. 2 full hours where my digital watchdog was asleep. My Wi-Fi is solid. It never drops. I checked the router's log. No outages. A power surge. No, the digital clock on my microwave was still correct. Not blinking 12 o'clock like it would have. The camera was intentionally disconnected. But how? You have to unplug it from the wall. My breath hitched. I sat up straighter. My coffee forgotten. I scrubbed the timeline back to right before the gap. 2:16 a.m. There's Mittens, sleeping peacefully on the arm of the sofa. The room is dark, lit only by the faint glow of the streetlights outside. Everything looks normal. I inch the timeline forward, second by second. Las 2:16, 45. Las 2:16, 50. At 2 hours, 16 minutes and 58 seconds, a shadow moves at the very edge of the frame, near the front door. It's quick, almost imperceptible. I played it back, again, and again. It's not a shadow, it's a hand. A gloved hand reaching out from just behind the door frame towards the wall outlet where the camera is plugged in. The footage cuts to black. Offline, cold dread washed over me. Someone was in my apartment for 2 hours, while I was sleeping just one room away. I felt violated, terrified. My mind raced, trying to piece it together. Did they take anything? I scrambled out of my chair, my hands shaking as I checked my valuables. Laptop, still on the desk. Wallet, in my purse. Jewelry box, untouched. Nothing was missing. Nothing was even out of place. It made no sense. Why break in, disable the camera, stay for 2 hours, and take nothing? My gaze fell on the camera again, the little white sentinel that had failed me. What happened when it came back online? My finger trembled as I dragged the timeline to 4:22 a.m. The screen flickered back to life. The room was exactly as it was before. Empty. The first few minutes of footage were just stillness. But then, something happened. At 4:28 a.m., Mittens, who had been curled up on the sofa, suddenly shot up, her back arched, fur on end, hissing at something just out of frame, in the direction of my bedroom. She stared, unblinking, for a solid minute, before slowly, cautiously, backing away and hiding under the coffee table. What did she see? What was in my bedroom? I was in my bedroom, sleeping. The thought was paralyzing. Were they watching me? I lived on the 3rd floor. There was no way in except the front door, which was double locked. I always check it. Always. So how did they get in? And how did they get out? The camera covers the front door. They couldn't have left that way after the camera was back on without being seen. I needed to see more. I fast-forwarded through the rest of the night. Nothing. Just the quiet apartment, the rising sun. I went back to the gap. Those 2 missing hours. My imagination filled the void with horrors. A figure standing over my bed. The feeling of being watched. Had I stirred? Had I almost woken up? The chill I felt this morning suddenly seemed less like paranoia and more like a memory. I decided to call the police. This was insane. As I reached for my phone, my eyes scanned the living room one more time, desperately looking for a clue. Anything I might have missed. My gaze landed on the bookshelf where the camera sat, and then I saw it, tucked behind a row of paperbacks, almost completely hidden. A small, black box. Not mine. It at a tiny, blinking red light. It wasn't a camera. It looked like some kind of recorder. No, a transmitter. Maybe. My blood ran cold. They didn't take anything. They left something. But the real horror didn't hit me until I looked closer at the timeline on my phone. The 2-hour gap, to 17 a.m. to 4:22 a.m. It wasn't random. I opened my calendar app, my fingers fumbling. And there it was. Last month's entry, system update and reboot, home security camera, scheduled maintenance, 2:15 a.m. to 4:15 a.m. A routine, Automated update. The notification email I'd ignored. The camera wasn't unplugged by an intruder. It was offline for a system update. The hand I saw, I played it back again, my heart pounding. It wasn't a hand, it was the dangling power cord, swaying slightly as I walked past it on my way to the kitchen earlier, creating a shadow that my terrified mind twisted into a threat. So, there was no break-in, no mysterious two-hour intruder. I let out a shaky laugh, a mix of relief and embarrassment. I was about to close the app, chiding myself for my overactive imagination, when I stopped. Wait. The camera was offline until 4:15 a.m. for the update, but the footage didn't start again until 4:22 a.m. There were still 7 minutes missing. Why? I zoomed in on the timeline right at 4:22 a.m. The moment the footage returned. The room is empty, but it's not quite the same. Something's different. The armchair in the corner, it's been moved, just a few inches to the left. And on the small table next to it, my car keys. I never leave my car keys in the living room. Ever. I always hang them on a hook by the door. My blood turned to ice. The update finished at 4:15. The footage starts at 4:22. In those 7 minutes, someone was here. Someone who knew the camera's maintenance schedule. They used that 7-minute window. They didn't need to break in. They had a key. They moved the chair. They left my car keys on the table. It wasn't a robbery. It was a message. And that's when I finally understood. I scrolled back through the footage. Not from last night, but from the day before. Me, leaving for work. And there, in the background, on the kitchen counter, is my spare key. The one I keep under the flour canister. And next to it, a flyer. A flyer for a local handyman service I'd used last week to fix a leaky faucet. A friendly guy who'd been in my apartment for an hour. A guy who saw where I kept my spare. The footage from 4:28 a.m. flashed in my mind. Mittens. Hissing. She wasn't hissing at my bedroom door. The angle was deceptive. She was hissing at the front door. At someone leaving. The click of the lock was too soft for the microphone to pick up. He didn't take anything. Just came in, moved a few things to let me know he could. And left. He's not trying to rob me. He's enjoying this. He's toying with me, and the most terrifying part. He still has the key. The camera wasn't a failure. It was the only thing that told me the truth. The threat wasn't a ghost in the machine. It was real, and it was coming back. Have you ever gotten a phone call that just felt wrong? Imagine this. It's late. You're alone. Your phone buzzes. A new voicemail. You hesitate, but curiosity wins. You press play. The voice that comes through is calm, almost unnervingly familiar. And it seems to know things about you. Things no one should know. This is the chilling premise of our short film, The Voicemail. We follow Alara, a young woman whose life spirals into paranoia after receiving a series of mysterious voicemails. At first, it's just a strange message. But then, the calls keep coming. The voice on the other end seems to anticipate her every move, her deepest fears. Is she being watched? Or is she losing her mind? We see her looking over her shoulder on busy streets, desperately sifting through old photos and journals, searching for any clue, any hint of who this person could be. The mystery deepens with each call, leading Alara down a rabbit hole of her own past. A cryptic message finally gives her a leaden old, abandoned observatory on the edge of town. She decides she can't run anymore. She has to face whoever is doing this. Inside the dusty, silent building, she doesn't find a person. She finds a tape recorder. Playing one of the tapes, she hears a voice she recognizes instantly her own, from years ago, reading a story she wrote as a child. A story that is now, terrifyingly, coming true. The calls weren't from a stalker. They were echoes of her own forgotten words. If you love a good psychological twist, you won't want to miss the voicemail. Check it out and let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for more short films. It started with a voicemail, a distorted voice, barely a whisper, giving me an address and a unit number. It felt like a prank, but something in my gut told me to go. The storage facility was old, almost abandoned. Unit 237. The lock was already open. Inside, amidst dusty furniture and forgotten memories, was a single, small, wooden box. My name was carved into the lid. My hands trembled as I opened it. There was no treasure, no old letters, just a cheap black burner phone. I powered it on. The screen flickered to life, showing a single, unread message. It was a string of numbers, coordinates. My heart pounded in my chest. This wasn't a game. I knew I should throw the phone away, walk away, and forget any of this ever happened. But I couldn't. Curiosity, or maybe something else, was pulling me in. I plugged the coordinates into my phone's map. It led to a desolate spot deep in the woods, miles from anything. I had to know what was there. I had to know who sent that message and why they chose me. As I drove down the deserted road, the burner phone buzzed again. A new message. Just one word. Hurry. My blood ran cold. I pressed harder on the gas. When I arrived, the sun was setting, casting long, eerie shadows through the trees. In a small clearing, there was freshly disturbed earth. A shallow grave, but it was empty. Suddenly, the phone rang. The same distorted voice from the voicemail whispered, "He told me you'd come. Now, look behind you." I froze, too terrified to turn around. Who was he, and what did they want from me? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to find out what happens next. On the burner phone, a saved police file. It states she will be reported missing tomorrow. Don't trust the version of me that survives. Those were the last words he left, a chilling echo in the silence of his apartment. Now, the only light comes from the frantic pulse of a dying bulb, each flicker a skipped heartbeat. Outside, the city hums, oblivious, but in here, the air is thick, heavy with something waiting. Listen. The electronic lock on the front door chimes, a polite digital sound, completely out of place in this suffocating tension. The door groans open, a sliver of hallway light cutting through the gloom. A shape takes form in the doorway, a familiar silhouette. It's him. It's him. He steps into the room, and the weak light catches his face. He's smiling, but it's not his smile. It's a terrifying, twisted imitation. His eyes find you, right through the screen. And he takes one slow step forward. Police arrive. The apartment is empty. Her phone lies on the table recording a new voicemail.